Welcome. Pull up a chair, get comfortable, grab your favorite drink. I have tea today. And let's have a conversation that comes from my heart to yours. My guest today is my good friend, angel mom, Lisa Bolton.
Hi.
Hi. Say hi, Lisa.
I said hi. You can hear me. Hi.
So thank you so much for joining me today, Lisa. And I can't wait to have a chat with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So you're an angel mom.
Yes, I
am. So why
am.
don't you tell us about your angel, Kerri? Tell me something, a memory that brings you joy, something about a personality. Well, so share Kerri with us.
This is Kerri. This was my rainbow baby, Kerri Elizabeth Fernley. She was my entire world. She was a college graduate who maintained a 4.0 GPA throughout high school and college. She was a gifted writer, an artist. She had an incredible sense of humor and a smile that just lit up a room, which I find amazing because you hear that from every angel mom about the smile that lit up the room. But she really did. Like, she walked in and the whole atmosphere just changed. She had an incredible sense of humor, and she was loyal to her friends and family and would do just about anything for someone in need, which sometimes didn't work really well for her. She was an environmentalist, humanitarian, and an advocate for those she felt were wronged. She was an amazing woman, and she was my best friend. One of the things that we talked about was what joy did she bring to me? But I'd have to say, what joy didn't she bring me? Her determination, her sense of humor, how she loved from the depth of her soul, her kindness and compassion, and her love and devotion to her younger brother, Kevin, are just a few of the things that brought me joy, just to watch her in action.
Oh, and you're right, because that is said a lot from angel moms about a smile.
Yep.
The smile that when they walked in, and I never tire of hearing it because it humanizes, it humanizes them. You know, they weren't their substance use disorder.
Right.
You know, they were people that radiated a room when they walked in just by their personality.
Yeah. And they all had big personalities. I mean, when I talk about her, when I go and I talk to her about, to other kids or parents, I don't address the substance use disorder as much as the human part of her. I talked to a group of girls, 13, 14, and 15 years old, and we talked about what addiction was and, what an addict looks like. And and I explained how she was a 4.0 graduate and that she was raised by two loving parents. She went through the DARE program in 5th grade. And when it was all, now her picture, this one that I showed you, was in the background the whole time. And when I asked the girls, so tell me what an addict looks like. And they started describing somebody on the corner and all that. So I grabbed Kerri's picture and I held it up and I said, this is my daughter, Kerri. She suffered from substance use disorder. She was an addict. And I'm like, what did I just spent an hour and a half talking to you? And now I'm going and I'm backpedaling.
And it's so true though, because that is the problem with stereotypes and the stigma associated with it, is the misconception of what an addict looks like.
Right.
And it's how I was raised. And it's actually how I told my kids, because I didn't know anybody. We have like family history of addictive behaviors.
Yeah, we do too.
But nobody ever talked about it or said anything.
Right. And so we looked at her and we said, don't do drugs. And she said, okay. And we said, okay.
Yeah. And it's like,
it's done.
And going through the DARE program,
yeah,
which I think is an epic failure.
Oh, I agree.
The government has to stop funding it because it does not work. It does not work. They need to have a modern day education.
Yeah, I agree. I was just telling Michelle this the other night that you, me, her, a bunch of us, we if they would talk to me, if the DARE officers would talk to me and the high schools would talk to me, we are your best guest speakers. Like, go ahead and do your DARE program, but pull us in and let us talk. Because when I look at a parent and the parent says, oh, my kid knows better, they would never do it. And I'm like, well, and I get blunt and I go, well, I thought the same thing. And I stare at an urn of ashes every night. That's my daughter who knew better.
And I think too, with going that route, people are scared.
Yeah.
And they think we're going to use scare tactics. I don't want to scare you.
No.
I don't want to scare your children. And I don't want to tell your children, don't do this, because teenagers
are going to do it anyway.
They want to do what you're not going to tell them to do.
Right.
And that's why the problem of fentanyl being sold on like social media and that whole gamut.
Yep.
It's the message isn't getting out there that we want to be heard. And like going into schools, why they don't ask us, or when some people get in. Some moms I know are able to get into schools, but some schools we've been met with resistance where they're like, oh, no, we educate on our own.
Yeah, or they don't return your calls.
Right.
You know, at least, being from New Jersey, I'm used to getting, like answers like this. And so when I start hounding, because I'm like, okay, can you just answer me? Like at this point, just tell me where to go. It's frustrating because it's, just listen to me, listen to what I have to say, and then tell me why I shouldn't be in there talking, or why you shouldn't be in there talking. And again, I don't want to scare them either, but I want them to understand that it can happen to anybody.
Right. And we want to help. I want to advocate and educate.
Right. I don't want another mother to feel what we feel every day.
Right. And it's not, and I think it's just where the fear is, it's just society. It's society driven.
The stigma.
And the stigma. And that's why, like, when we do events that we do, it's to help stop the stigma, so we can advocate and educate others on the dangers of opioid abuse. And see, now I'm going to go off on a little tangent now.
It's okay.
Because it's not just young kids.
No.
A recent study showed elders or senior citizens are suffering from substance use disorder. From a lot of they are
in all the videos. They range from 13 years old or 12 years old to 50, 60 years old.
Yeah. But senior citizens now are a different category that doctors are finding that they are suffering from substance use disorders because they're given pain pills,
right? And
they're not under a pain management program, and they're addicted and they're embarrassed. So they don't seek treatment. So it covers all ages.
Yeah.
All ages, all genders, all non-binary, all races, all countries,
all religions, everything.
Everything. And it's, yeah. Okay. So let me get back. Let me reel myself.
You're good.
So with Kerri, thank you for describing Kerri. And I do feel like I have known her through the years of knowing you.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Ryan.
Yeah. I feel like I know Kerri. If I saw her on the street, she'd probably be like, who are you? But it'd be like, I know you.
Well, they're probably partying together up there.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a new group of friends, just like we have a new group of friends.
Yeah. And I do believe that they make sure that we connect.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. They're part of some divine intervention, making sure you meet who you're supposed to meet.
I had this vision when Stacy took the Can You See Me Now flags to the wall in Arizona. Remember when she did that? And I had this vision of like God opened the heavens and let them all sit on the clouds, and they were all like, look, we made it here. Yeah. And knowing my daughter, there was some foul language in there, and God probably looked at her and went, Kerri, no.
But you know what though? When it comes to foul language, I'm guilty.
Oh, I know.
I'm guilty big time. But
Yeah.
you know how I look at it? It keeps my blood pressure down because I release it.
Absolutely.
God is not going to punish me for saying shit or the F-bomb.
Right.
He's not going to punish me for it.
Because we're not killing anybody.
He's got other things. If it bothers somebody else, you know, my intention is never to hurt anybody by it, but it's how I am. And I say how I feel. I'm honest how I feel. I'm open how I feel. And I'm a native New Yorker, so.
Well, I'm a native New Jersey girl. So, you know, I look up and I'm like, sorry, I know I said I was going to work on that, but you know what? She's up there. So you know where she got it. You know where she's getting it from because you listen to me every day.
That's when we apologize. It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My kids up there dropping a few.
Right. I drop an F-bomb down here. She drops one up there. And I'm like, well, see, that's where she got it from. And I'm really sorry. I'm working on it.
What I love having this conversation with you right now is so others can see that you can laugh. You know, you can laugh, you can find humor in these moments, and it's okay. You know,
well, if I didn't find humor, she'd smack me upside the head.
Yeah. And we could cry together, but we can laugh together too. However you feel in the moment, it's okay. It's fine. You know, and when we're stuck in it, that's when we help the other person get unstuck a little.
Throw out the lifeline.
Yeah. It's like, I was stuck really bad during the holidays with losing my friend. And I was stuck and I was drowning.
I'm so sorry that happened.
Thank you. Thank you. And through the gift of friendship, I was able to surface a little more and a little more. And then after Christmas Eve, it was like, I'm going to be okay. You know, but the whole time where I was drowning, I felt my tribe keeping me up above water.
No, we weren't going to let you drown.
No. And it's just like, because I tend to retreat and I handle it privately. And I do.
I do too. I wait till I'm sitting here alone and then I have my meltdowns and my screaming matches with God and sometimes Kerri and
but it's okay. And it's okay. It's all part of grief and it's okay. So with Kerri, you're coming up on her angelversary.
Yes, I am.
When is that?
So that will be January 25th. And she will be gone for 4 years. One of the questions that you had sent me is how long have I been on this grief journey? And if I can just for a second, that's a difficult question since my journey actually started before Kerri, as you know. Kerri will be 4 years that she's left us in 28 days, not that I'm counting, but before her, I lost her baby brother, DJ, in 1989. And that's why I called her my rainbow baby before. I lost them exactly 30 years apart. In between, I also lost my 18-year-old stepdaughter in 2015. She contracted anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis. Each loss is different, of course, but the journey's been a constant in my life for 34 years. I love all three of them, but what I shared with Kerri, I don't even have the words for. DJ and Quinn were so very hard, but my world just felt like it ended when I lost Kerri.
And it's true because you've lost a baby, you've lost a stepdaughter, and you've lost a daughter. And it's different grief for all of them, but to have all of them in your life, it could have been really, really bad for you, really bad for you. And I'm glad to see you talk about it, you know, and projects that you're doing, and you address it. And there's no shame. You've taken away the shame.
Yeah.
Of the losses and
DJ was infant and pregnancy loss. And to quote a statistic, 1 in 4 infants die from infant and pregnancy loss. DJ was 1 in 4. The disease that Quinn had, their mortality rate is 1 in 4. Quinn was 1 in 4. And most of us know how many we lose to addiction or to substance use every day.
And it's another connection that we have is I lost my stepdaughter. My husband lost his daughter in 2010. Right. She is forever 26 to sepsis from a blood infection after she gave birth. But we did not know that about each other. I think for a while, we didn't even know that about each other.
Well, it was actually the conversation about how you and your husband got together and me and my husband got together, right. And Dylan and Kevin.
Right. Yep. That's right. We have a lot of similarities. And if we didn't open the door to our heart a little bit to get to know one another, you'd never know that. And I was just talking with somebody and I was sharing about our shattered hearts.
You had done a Facebook post about Dylan and I contacted you and said, oh my God, I know exactly what you're going through. And we just took it from there.
Yeah. But it's like our shattered hearts, I believe, make room for other light to come in and other love to come in, where we can receive more, but we can give out more. So that's where friendships and relationships come into play, because your relationships with others around you after losing a child drastically change.
Oh yeah. Well, I know when John met Rich that first time and they had Angela and Quinn to compare, because John really had nobody, I had all of you guys and John was dealing with all of that grief over Quinn. And then he met Rich and realized, oh, wait, this is a guy that understands how I feel.
And it's so hard for men to find that connection, and to talk about it. And when the 4 of us get together, the men are on their own, because you and I just
Thank God they got along.
So they have to talk. And where I'm so proud of my husband is that he has found a way to talk about his grief. He grieved silently for many, many years until I lost Ryan. So his daughter passed 2010, Ryan was 2018. So for 8 years, he grieved silently.
Sure.
He didn't say anything. And some people didn't even know he had a daughter.
Oh, like you said, men grieve differently.
Yeah. So then after losing Ryan, that hit him so hard, really, really hard. And as time went by and then going through the journey and everything, it's just like he realized he never had a way to communicate or talk to somebody who understands. Right. And when people say, oh, you're so lucky to have each other, I always say, no, we're not. You don't want to be with somebody where you've each lost the child.
Oh, we hear that all the time. Oh, you guys are together and you help support each other and it's so great you have each other. Well, I would like to have John and still have the girls.
Yeah, right.
That would even be better.
It's a sad comfort that's like the connection with your spouse. Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. Rich has learned to talk. He's found his voice. You can kill me later because So we're talking about your angel children. You've done a lot. You're involved in different groups.
Yeah.
Would you like to share about the groups that you're involved in and tell us about it?
Sure. Well, I'm in the process of starting up what I'm calling the Dandelion Project. And not that it's funny, but before Kerri passed and I was dealing with the grief from Quinn, it brought up a lot of feelings about my loss of DJ. And I was talking to another angel mom, and I was telling her I wanted to do something along the lines of like an infant cuddler program, because like when I left the hospital without a baby and I had all this love to give and DJ wasn't there. So I thought, why not do an infant cuddler program where people like us who have all this love to give and we have no one to give it to, go help, the babies in the NIC unit and all that. And she said, what you are describing reminds me of a dandelion, like it spreads its seeds, you want to spread love. So she said, you should call it the Dandelion Project. So I said, okay. And Kerri had just come out of rehab and she was doodling. She loved to doodle when she was struggling. And she sent me a picture at like 3:00 in the morning of a dandelion that she drew. And I hadn't told her any of it. I hadn't told her what I wanted to do. I mean, she knew about DJ. She always called me on his birthday and everything. So I called her immediately, like 3 a.m. We're having this phone conversation. I'm like, why did you send me that? And she's like, oh, I was just doodling, Mom. I'm like, did I tell you? And I start telling her the story and she's like, oh my God, I love it. But I had never told her that. So then it was like, okay, it's the Dandelion Project, and her dandelion that she drew, which I think you have,
I do have.
Is in my logo.
This is logo. Kerri's drawing.
And every event that we do, I put it up and all the moms and dads will put their fingerprints on it and then we raffle it off. So
see the hearts
out there.
The hearts are the fingerprints and different colors. And I got lucky and I won this one. So this is mine and I love it. So yeah, that is so loving, the connection you and Kerri had and how that came together about the dandelions.
Yeah, and we were going to do it together. And then, so I have my little card that I'm going to read from. But the Dandelion Project began as an idea to help grieving mothers spread love to other grieving mothers through support and companionship. However, due to additional needs that began to arise and realizing there was a need for that same love and companionship for children, siblings, and grandparents, the idea is continuing to grow. We would like to expand even more by including a program where grandparents are supporting grandparents. And we are providing resources for educators and other support professionals, including a support group for them to help guide them in helping children and families working through grief and trauma. But we're more than just grief support. We are mothers and grieving mothers who have suffered losses, are raising grandchildren, and helping our grown children navigate trauma and mental health issues, including substance use disorder. We are here to support in whatever way we can. We honor our children lost by spreading awareness and providing the necessary resources. So those are the goals behind the Dandelion Project. But then I'm also a member of the Tears Foundation. I am a chapter leader for the Tears Foundation. I joined that because of DJ, and I was becoming a support group facilitator and a stillbirth doula. And then Kerri passed away. Like they have a rule, I guess is what I want to say, or a requirement that you have to be 2 years out of your grief before you can run a group. So I had just finished the training, and Margaret Pylon is the emotional support director. And she was the first person I called. She was actually up in New Jersey at her daughter's memorial. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is Kerri. I can't do this. So she met me here. And then she told me about a program. Tears is a nonprofit organization that offers emotional and financial support to bereaved families. Cali's Gift was started by Sophia Marie Hall, Cali's mom. Cali lost her life to SUD as well. But that program supports bereaved parents who've lost a child from the ages of 13 to 22 to an overdose or suicide. So obviously Tears and Cali's Gift are very close to my heart, and the work I do for them allows me to honor all 3 of my children.
It's so hard. Now that I know you and your story, wrapping your head around your 3 losses, and yet
yes,
you found a way. You found an outlet and an avenue to be part of programs that acknowledge each of their losses.
So, and of course, Cali's Gift, when Margaret came to me, she said, you're going to take the reins with, Cali's Gift on the Facebook page. And we just had a walk in Leesburg, our very first walk in Leesburg, because usually they're in Orlando, as you know, because you were there. Thank you so much. But it was right around the World Awareness Day, but we wanted to bring more attention to Cali's Gift. And I wanted to bring more, I wanted more attention in that area. There's a lot of support groups out there for infant and pregnancy loss, and it's wonderful, but there's not a whole lot for the younger children that we lose to overdose and suicide. And I mean, the suicide rate is going up just as high as the overdose rate. So, we've got 10-year-olds hanging themselves from a bedpost a couple months ago, and we have 2-year-olds dying from laying in the bed next to their dad because they get the needle and it's got the fentanyl in it. And we need to bring more awareness to, it's not just this group, it's this group.
It's sad. It's a tragedy that our youngest are leaving us too soon. It really is a tragedy. Are these groups, how can someone find these groups that you're talking about? Are they on Facebook or web pages?
Yes, they're on Facebook. So it's the Tears Foundation. You just go down. We have chapters in many of the states. So you just find the Florida chapter. Right now, I am the only chapter leader because they all left me for other reasons. But, and then with Cali's Gift, it's a private support group. It has to be invited. So it's basically when Margaret and I get the call, we offer the group immediately. We had a 13-year-old who in Brevard County who committed suicide at 11 o'clock at night. And we got the call, and, we invited her parents to Cali's Gift, but they haven't joined yet. And I understand that. I mean, it's hard.
It takes time. And what I'll do is I'll post in the comments links. So that way you don't have to worry about going back and watching, even though you can go back and watch anytime, but I'll post in the comments links to these pages. And Lisa, if you share your email, if you don't have to share it now, but if you're okay, where people can email you if they have any questions?
Okay. The Dandelion Project has a Facebook page, but the email is always in forevermychild@gmail.com.
Okay. Yep. We'll make sure we have all that in the comments. So do you have any advice that you'd like to offer a grieving parent?
Grieve in your own way, in your own time. Don't listen to what others tell you when they say move on, because you won't ever move on. Seriously, how could you? Our children are gone from us for now, but part of us went with them. This is not the natural order of things. And finally, do not travel this journey by yourself. Find the support, because we'll never let you be alone.
You nailed it. That is so true. It's so hard. When it first happens, you can't help but feel alone.
Right.
It is. You can't help but feel alone. And then finally, when you come up for air a little bit and you reach out and look, we are here to help you.
Yep, there we are.
Yeah, we're here. And I think there is such a plethora of groups out there that you'll find what you need. You'll find what works for you. Some groups might work for Lisa that don't work for me, and vice versa. And that's okay.
Well, Cali's mom, Sophia, is actually part of some of our adult groups. So when I made the connection, I called her right away, and I'm like, oh my God, Sophia, I never even put this together. Yeah. So that was kind of we were like, wow, it is a small world, because here we are.
And then in the 4 years since we've lost Kerri and Ryan, there's so many more groups out there.
Oh, I know.
So, and it's anything that you're looking for. There's support groups, there's advocacy groups, there's education groups, there's gentle. If you're not really sure, you can always email either one of us, and we could offer you suggestions. Learn from our path. I look at it this way. Once I got on this path in my grief journey, there were people ahead of me.
Oh, yeah.
And it was scary, thinking that, wow, these moms lost their child and they're years out, years out in their grief. And how is that going to be me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're never going to
and a
survive
lot of
that
it.
long.
And then it's like when you're reading about their friends are all gone, I'm thinking, that's not going to happen to me. All this stuff, like you think is not going to happen to me. Mm-hmm. So our responsibility now is when we're on their path, we see the people coming in behind us. So all we can do is we'll hold your hand. We'll hold your hand. We're not going to tell you it gets easier. It just gets different.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. I learned a whole different terminology.
Oh, yeah.
Grief waves and brain fog and it's just a whole different terminology that's out there. But there's so much love and support.
Yeah, and you or you'll survive. Some days are going to be harder than others, and that's okay, like you said. But we're making them proud by keeping them alive and making a difference and proving that they have not and will not have died in vain. Many years ago, I saw a picture of two fathers. You probably have seen this too, standing at the nursery window asking, which one is yours? And more recently, I saw a new version of that where it was heaven and our children are together saying, that one's mine. Which one is your mom?
Yeah.
And I take comfort in that picture in my head.
I do too. And it's so funny when you know your child's personality.
Oh, yeah.
and I've seen the picture too. I'll have to post that again.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful reflection. And I picture my son saying, up there in heaven going, I'm so sorry. That's my mom. I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, Kerri's doing the same thing as she's dropping the F-bombs going, and then, like we said before, like going, I'm sorry, but that's my mom. That's where I get it from.
Yeah. And we honor all of our loved ones taken too soon by this awful drug epidemic, opioid epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. We honor all of them. The numbers are growing, and that's the sad part. But what's come out of it for positive is meeting new people in my life, having you for a friend, Lisa.
Oh, you same to you.
So we're going to wrap up.
Want to mention Ryan's ride?
Really? Okay, really quickly. You have been to Ryan's Ride memorial event.
Yes, I have.
So share something about it. What would you like to tell people?
It was my first event after Kerri died, and it was amazing. It was hard, but it was just amazing because of the support and the story sharing. It was just I felt like she was there with me this whole time, and the love and the support and the friends that I made from that first day, from that first event. I just picture, I'm like, well, these are my friends because they're your friends up there. And I felt like they were all there. Kerri, Ryan, Ian, Patrick, Alyssa, Cali, Madison, and so many of them that I feel like I know now from seeing their pictures on the banners or talking to everybody. If I hadn't gone to that first event, that would have never happened. And it's just such an amazing day. From the minute the prayer goes out and the kickstands go up to coming back and talking about everything and talking about, the From Project and everything else that we're all doing. And it's a great day to share our children, which is the way we keep them alive, and support one another.
It's great. Doesn't it feel like coming home?
It does. It does. When I sat there this past year, it was just like, even though I've only done 2 of them, it felt like I had been doing them for like 10 years, and everybody that's there, is a new family. Right. We are a family.
And I think
it's functional, but we're a family.
It wouldn't be fun if it was,
right.
But I lost my train of thought. But I always feel like it's coming home, and where, the first timers that I haven't met, it's like, you think you know them, but it's like, oh my God, I haven't touched you yet. And I have to touch your face. And the hardest part is always walking through the door. That's the hardest part. Once you get through the door, you are not alone at this event. And you don't have to, what I'd like to share is you don't have to ride a motorcycle to come to the event.
Right.
Because the riders, they go for 90 minutes, they do a ride. We'd love if you do ride to go on the event. But we have vendors, and it's such a, beside the vendors, we Narcan training we're going to do. We have raffles. There's a video I make.
Yeah, the video is phenomenal.
There's just so much. And it's an opportunity to connect with other angel parents.
I saw car riders too, not just motorcycle. You don't have to just ride the motorcycle, because I saw a couple of people riding in their car. Had I made it there on time and not gotten lost, I would have done that.
So the 5th annual Ryan's Ride is going to be Sunday, February 26th at the Moose Lodge in Haines City, Florida. So yes, it's Florida. Perfect weather, perfect time of year. Come on down. I've been saying, people have been asking like hotels in the area. I think your best bet is doing Airbnb. There's plenty of those in the area. They're more affordable.
Yeah.
But so let me wrap up with Lisa. So as we wrap up, I need a positive thought. Would you like to leave us with a positive thought?
I think I already gave you my positive thought.
Well, that was your advice.
But also, like I was saying about how you're going to survive. That's what I meant with the positive thought. You're going to survive. And like, you're going to have your good days and you're going to have your bad days, and that's okay. You're going to have people that want to talk to you about it. You're going to have people that want to avoid it. That's okay. Everybody deals with it, you know, in their own way. And so should you. You should always deal with it, you know, and again, you know, we're making them proud because we're making a difference. They're making a difference. Every time we do an event, every time we do one of these, I feel like Kerri and Ryan are like sitting on our shoulders and, you know, like, hey, stop deviating, or, hey, you forgot to mention this. And I feel like Kerri is making just as big a difference not being here as she was when she was here. This is what she wanted to do. She wanted to raise awareness. So I'm going to do it for her. And
you're doing,
you know,
good.
Thank you. So are you. She guides me. And, you know, I throw up my hands sometimes and I want to give up too, but then I hear her in the background telling me, don't you dare. You know, we always say one day closer. We're going to see them again. We're going to be reunited with them again. But in the meantime, let's make sure they didn't die in vain. Let's do everything we can to prevent another mother from doing what we're doing right now.
Right. And very good. Very good. I love that. And I'd like to say, don't ever be ashamed of your grief, ever. Don't ever apologize for it. I think we have to stop apologizing for our grief.
Absolutely.
So many times it's without thinking. It's like, if you do get upset, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. No. Don't apologize for your grief. Where there is great grief, there is great love. Mm-hmm. And like Kerri guiding you, Ryan guides me. And I look at it this way, for all the times where I thought, I can't do this anymore. And you're done. You want to give up.
Yep. And
then when I come back up from my breath, I realize I can't tell Ryan's story better than anybody. I'm the one. Mm-hmm. Nobody can tell his story better than me. And if I'm not here, who's going to do it? So that's what keeps me going, keeps me here. Right. So when I know other moms, when they're are in the really, really low places, it's I tell them, no, we got to hear about your child. Mm-hmm. You know, no one could say it better than you. So that's our job. That's our responsibility now. And we'll shout from the rooftops. And if you need help telling your child's story, we'll
shout it for you.
We'll shout it for you. So thank you again, Lisa.
Thank you.
I appreciate it so much. Like I said, I will post links about the groups that we were talking about in the comments. Remember, you are not alone. I'm sending you love, hugs, support, and compassion from my heart to yours. You can find the From Project on Facebook. It's a public page. It's a gentle place for you to land. You can find these conversations on YouTube. Just look up the From Project. You can always send me an email, thefromproject@gmail.com. And we'll go from there. So the From Project is because I am forever Ryan's mom. That's my smiley kid. He makes me proud, even now. So until our next conversation, you have a great day and be gentle to yourself. Love you.
Love you, Mary Beth.